Meeting of the Ann Arbor Historic District Commission. The meeting is being held in person and electronically via Zoom. Members of the public who would like to comment on hearings or other matters may do so via telephone only. To speak during any of the public comment opportunities, please call 888-788-0099 or 213-338-8477 and enter meeting ID 965-3669-9762. This information is also available on the published agenda in the public notices section of the city website and on the broadcast of this meeting on CTN Channel 16, AT&T Channel 99, and online at www.a2gov.org/watchctn. Mr. Kowalski, will you please call the roll?
Absolutely. Epperson?
Here.
Fortner?
Here.
Ross?
Here.
Quiano?
Here.
Quiano? Rockland? Here. White?
Here.
And Willis?
Here.
Okay.
Definitely have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, on to item C, approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes to tonight's agenda? Think anything came through? Nope. Hearing and seeing no objection, the agenda is approved as presented. On to item D, public comment. This is an opportunity for persons to speak for up to 3 minutes about an issue that is not listed as a public hearing on this agenda. Again, to comment on such other preservation matters, please call 888-788-0099 and enter meeting ID 965-3669-9762. And again, this information is also displayed on the media agenda and city video feed. City staff will select callers that have raised their hand one by one using the last 3 digits of your phone number. In order to electronically raise your hand to indicate your desire to speak, please press *9 on your phone. Mr. Kowalski, do we have any callers on the phone that would like to make any public comment?
I do not see any hand raised.
No. Any members of the audience have any public comment? Okay. We'll close the public comment portion for these and move on to item E, unfinished business, which we have none. And on to item F, hearings. First hearing is 320 South 7th Street. Mr. Kowalski, go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. Here we go, 320 South 7th Street, Old West Side Historic District. Pictures of the subject site, the front. The rear, which is where the work will be done. Again, from the side street view. Little driveway shot. Here you can see the existing, the existing survey and site plan. And the proposed addition, which is off of the rear and keeps a couple of elements you can see of the existing remaining outside of the central box of the house is this existing 1.5 story that will remain, and this is the proposed 2-story addition off to the rear. And elevation views, you can see again part of the lower section here, which would be remaining with some alterations to it. I believe the door was being shifted over. Front view, so not really slightly visible. Oh, sorry. Go back, there we go. Off to the left here, you can see. Again, the view. And on that side. Oh, wait, what happened here? Okay, wait a minute. Apologize, my show got all mixed up here. Oh, sorry, okay, we're going to the different, I apologize. Okay, here we go. Again, a little bit closer view, and you can see some of the interior where that store was, or the door was going to be shifted over. The Secretary of Interior standards that apply, number 2, number 5, number 9, and number 10. Regarding the building site as well, what's not recommended, you can see there. What's recommended as far as additions. It's not recommended as far as additions. and our Ann Arbor Historic District guidelines. The addition's what's appropriate, locating a required addition on the least character-defining elevation and keeping it subordinate in volume to the historic building. And that concludes the presentation for that item.
Thank you, Mr. Kowalski. Commissioners Willis and Ross were on the review committee. Can you guys please give your report and recommendation?
I guess I could start. So I wasn't present at the last meeting, so I guess there was some discussion previously about a prior design that didn't fly. But we won't talk about the past. So generally speaking, in terms of the scale of the addition, seemed reasonable. Something that's going to be minimally visible from the right-of-way. And the rear wing, that, like the lower gabled wing, that is historic age and contributing to the building. So based on what we're looking at here, half of the gate, essentially, like not half, but a little bit less than half, will kind of be engulfed by the new addition. But there's enough that will be remaining so that you can get a sense of, okay, here you can get a sense of that wing still kind of existing. I generally speaking, I mean, if there wasn't this question around this character-defining wing being impacted by this addition, generally speaking, I would say, yeah, it's the right scale, it's the right location, the materiality makes sense. So it's just that question around how much of this historic rear wing is the commission willing to kind of let go? So I think that's, obviously something that we all should discuss.
I agree with Commissioner Ross, but I think this design definitely is more compatible than the earlier one. So, but it looked like the changes that they want to make would really be beneficial to the family and being able to use the space of their house.
Thank you. Would the applicant please step forward? I believe you're in the room. And you have up to 5 minutes to add anything you'd like to the staff report. And please state your name for the record.
Of course. No sign-in?
We usually sometimes have one.
My name is, it's okay.
That's okay.
Bonnie Greenspoon of Lewis Greenspoon Architects. I'm the architect, and the homeowner, Mr. Sean Hoskins, is sitting sort of in the orange short-sleeve shirt behind me. So we were proposing a two-story addition to this house. The current house is rather small. The upper floor has 2 bedrooms and a shared bathroom, all occupied by a family of 4 currently. And they've lived in this house for a while. They love this house. They love the neighborhood, would like to stay. And as you have probably approved, houses along this street have all had additions, and so we were trying to resolve a compatible addition onto this house as well, based on the last meeting, the last proposal, as the commissioners had stated. We took your points into consideration when we made this proposal and pulled it back from the garage, so it was not as close to the garage as it is not as close to the garage as it previously was, as well as leaving as much as we could of the roof of that 1.5-story addition on the back. I shouldn't say addition on the back. It's a 1.5-story piece that has been altered considerably because it has an odd triangular window up in the gable of it, which we didn't think in any way could be original. And then the horizontal windows on the ground floor below that, it's just an orientation of window in discussions with Jill that we thought, in no way would have been historically located or oriented that way. So we've added a master bedroom onto this upper floor, as well as a small bathroom and a small closet, and the current master bedroom now has will now have a hallway. So it is made smaller in order to put a hallway in to get to this new master bedroom. And it also required us to remove the chimney in order to create a closet for this new bedroom that is now made smaller because of the hallway. Yeah, I've already talked about that, I'm sorry. We attempted to keep as much of that 1.5-story piece as we could on the back of the house, such that where the addition actually connects to the existing 2-story piece, we tried to make that as narrow as possible by just having the hallway and a very small bathroom. It's a very modest bathroom, even though it's a dedicated master bathroom. Very small, modest bathroom by today's standards. We have removed the triangular window in that west elevation, on that back elevation, as well as those horizontal windows coming up. Yes, so the bottom drawing shows the existing conditions, and then the top right drawing shows the new back elevation. And you can see a little bit of the ridge of that 1.5-story volume that will still be maintained. So you can still recognize that there is and was a 1.5-story volume at that point. We've also attempted to maintain the corners of the existing volumes where we have the 2-story house, the southwest corner of the 2-story house still expressed and the roof still expressed, and the northwest corner of that 1.5-story volume very clearly expressed as well. So the existing corners of the house are maintained and the roof forms are maintained such that our new roof is lower. The peak of that roof, the ridge point of that roof is, I think, over 4 feet lower than the existing ridge. And also the connection of that smaller volume to the big 2-story volume is also considerably lower in order to maintain the expression of the very original 2-story volume. Thank you. I'd like to answer questions if anyone has as well.
Commissioners, any questions for the applicant? Go ahead, Commissioner Rackman.
Hi. Question for you. 2 questions. First one is I'm just sort of curious about the bedroom 2. You mentioned it's getting smaller because of the hallway. It leads into a closet. Just like, is there? I'll let you sign it.
Okay.
I don't know if you can multitask. I wouldn't be able to. So
I will listen if
Okay.
I need you to repeat.
I will continue. Just could you give us an idea, like, is there any headroom in that, is that closet very low ceilinged, or is it like, can you stand up and walk around in that closet?
It is, you can stand up
Okay.
at the high point of the ridge.
Right, because you're right
Okay, I'm
underneath.
5'4".
Yeah.
I can stand up.
Okay.
It is not a legal room because of the headroom. So that closet as a child's room, yes, it's fine.
Yeah, right, okay.
But if I were building this, if we were designing this building from scratch as a new building, no, it would not be legal.
Okay.
So,
Understood. Sounds like a good use of space anyways. And then in that same area of the house, I guess I have a concern, and it is that there's going to be a slope leading back, so there's the ridge of that 1.5 story. So just explain, I don't know, leaves and water, how is that going to work with the, I like that you're keeping the ridge, because then you can really read that's where the ridge is and it's coming back. So I like that, but I'm just concerned about the historic property if it's going to be in danger because of rain and leaves. So how's that being handled?
You'll still read the ridge.
Yeah.
From most spots on the ground. When you're up in a drone, you will see that where it then, where you have the ridge then sloping into the new wall.
Yeah.
We will
You'll-
sort of cover most of that roof with a large saddle
Yeah,
or.
okay. You'll fill it in a discreet way.
In a
so-
very
and
discreet way.
From the ground, I'm seeing the ridge, but when I'm up on the roof, I don't have to worry about the,
Correct,
the-
because that was a large consideration for us, is how do we deal with this small bit of roof that then slopes into
Yeah.
the new addition? Absolutely, and where that wall is located really was based on how do we deal with
Yeah.
that sloping roof. It was very critical in our discussion with Jill when she met with us at some point on the site, after our previous decline, the decline of our last proposal. In talking to her, it was critical that we maintain that ridge, the reading of the ridge.
yes, right.
And some amount beyond that ridge. And that amount then
That was the
determined
challenge.
where that wall was. And yes, we will obtain drainage in it.
Yeah.
Which you may only see from a drone
Right.
or when you're standing on the roof, of course. Yes.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioners? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Right. I'll now open the public hearing. This is an opportunity for persons to speak for up to 3 minutes about the application at 320 South 7th Street. Again, just note, public comment may be made by calling 877-853-5247 and entering the meeting ID listed in the agenda and video feed. Do we have any callers indicated?
No one callers at this time.
Okay. No one in the audience. I'll close the public hearing portion. Is there a commissioner that would like to make a motion on this application? Mr. Rock. I don't know. It's been so long.
I move that the commission issue, excuse me, issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 320 South 7th Street, a contributing property in the Old West Side Historic District, to construct a 2-story rear addition, remove a chimney, and shift a door on the north elevation as proposed. The work is compatible in exterior design, arrangement, texture, material, and relationship to the rest of the building and the surrounding area, and meets the Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings, in particular standards 2, 5, 9, and 10, and the guidelines for building site and additions, as well as the Ann Arbor Historic District design guidelines, in particular the guidelines for all additions.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Quijano, seconded by Commissioner White. Discussion on the motion? I'd like to start. I'll just weigh in. I think that I recall the addition and the discussion from the last round, and I think that I agree that a lot of the comments and the concerns that we had were addressed, I think, very, very nicely and really considered. Our main concern was stated was that 1.5-story addition in the previous was going to be swallowed, so it was almost completely irrecognizable as an addition. And this, I think, and part of the challenges from the site is really that location of the garage and proximity to the house. You know, not only distance from the house going straight back, but also to that's the north, I believe, on that side. So there were, I think, concerns in that department as well. I think the design has been handled nicely to really consider, you know, the scale and massing of the house and trying to minimize that touch as much as possible to the addition. And I think we recognize with additions, there's always going to be some historic character that is destroyed in the process. So I think this is really considerate of what is there. I think it meets the guidelines, so I don't really have much more to add. Other commissioners' comments or
Is there a
Statements?
chimney that we have to look at?
There is a chimney, right, that is being removed, correct?
While we pull those photos up, I'll just,
Yeah.
I agree. I think that this is a very difficult house, just because of the 1.5, the very low roofed addition, historic addition or wing, whatever it was. It just makes this very difficult, and there's a driveway, so that one side is very visible. And there's a contributing garage that's very close to the house. So all those things really were creating a high degree of difficulty here. And yeah, I think the applicant and the design team came up with some very clever moves where they're saving the corners and the ridge, and it's going to be when you do kind of analyze the addition, it's telling kind of the right story about the addition being a subservient add-on to the historic structure. And there's the chimney.
There's a chimney. There are a couple photos on the screen. There's an additional one in the packet from like the northeast corner, where you can see it. I would look, I guess, at if the review committee felt like this was, really a character-defining feature of this house. Given all the constraints of the plan, I'm inclined that it's not as significant of a feature.
Yeah, so we did actually ask about the chimney, and, due to obviously the interior layout, they had to remove it. And, it's kind of, overall sad that it's just this slow drip of, we see these additions coming
Yeah.
in and then the chimney going away.
Right.
But I wouldn't say on this house, it's not like this is like a Tudor revival house with that,
An ornate chimney.
yeah, ornate chimney that's really part of the character, style defining feature. Yeah, so I think just for this particular house, no, but I guess it's just something that we
Right.
should keep in mind as, like I said, we just get the slow drip of these chimneys going away.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Any other comments? Questions? All those ready to vote? All of those in favor of the motion, please say yes.
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 All of those opposed, please say no. All right, the motion carries. Your application has been approved. Please note you must apply for any permits required from the city before beginning work. Thank you. All right. On to item F2, 719 West Washington.
Okay, thank you. Again, this is located in the Old West Side Historic District. See, obviously, the picture is looking at the front of the house. The proposed deck is in the rear. So here you can obviously see a section of the rear. The deck would be kind of just off to the right of this picture, off the rear of the building. You can see here, again, looking at, I guess this would be looking, east? Across the rear of the house. The deck would be off of kind of where, is my mouse moving on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. There you go. The deck would be in this area right here. And, okay, here's an even better shot of it. Again, this door is going to be moved over slightly to align with this, the door, I'm sorry, is that the door or window right below it? They're both windows. Okay, sorry. So it'll be moved over, and then it'll become a door for access to the deck in this area. Again, so obviously looking from the other direction. You can see here a view from of the neighboring backyards. You can see it's pretty well screened, decent distance from that as well. A survey of the house, you can see it's obviously it's 719 here, so you can see it does include like a portion of another house, but the house that we're discussing right now is 719, the larger parcel. Site plan looking, you can see the proposed balcony. And so some of the sketches of the existing floor plan with the proposed balcony. A little sketch of the design. Again. Here, so again, you can see to the left, the existing, where the current window is right now, and then obviously it's just being shifted over, converted to a door to access the rear deck, or the proposed deck. And Secretary of Interior Standards, number 2. Number 9. Be number 10. And regarding entrances and porches, specifically under the Secretary of Interior guidelines, was recommended. Again, this is the Ann Arbor Historic District guidelines regarding residential porches, or where it's appropriate, installing a new porch and entrance on a secondary elevations may be appropriate if it does not diminish the building's architectural character, and the design and materials are compatible with the building and the site. And that concludes the presentation on this item. Go back to a site picture.
Thank you, Mr. Kowalski. Commissioners Willis and Ross, will you please give us your review committee report and recommendation?
I think that the size of the proposed deck really is appropriate for the house, and because it is invisible from the street, it'll also make a better use of the home space for the current occupiers. So I thought it was pretty straightforward.
Agreed. It's, the lot's very sizable. So, this kind of minor, what I would define as a minor intervention to enable the applicant to have their kind of outdoor space accessible from the second story. It's modest. The materiality is compatible with the house. It seems, once again, a pretty straightforward proposal.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. And applicant is present, correct? If you'd like to step up and to state your name for the record, you have up to 5 minutes if you'd like to add anything to the staff report or review committee report.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is John Moed. Yeah, the only thing I would add is one of the things we talked about the other day was I'm considering whether the overhang should be 1 foot or 2 feet. And I've been waiting back from the contractor to get some feedback, and I haven't gotten it yet. But when we talked about it, folks seemed comfortable with if we go either a 1 foot or 2 foot cantilever. Part of the reason for that is the proportions of the railings would match from the rear and from the side. So it might look a little better, but I need to confirm it with the contractor. But other than that, it seems pretty simple compared to the previous applicant.
Yes.
Happy to answer any
Okay,
questions.
yeah.
Yes.
Commissioners, any questions? No, not on there now? One down here. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I will now open the public hearing portion for this item. This is an opportunity for persons to speak for up to 3 minutes about the application at 719 West Washington. Please remember to press *9 on your phone if you'd like to make a comment on this hearing. Do we have any callers?
No callers at this time.
Okay, thank you. We'll close the public hearing portion. Is there a commissioner that would like to make a motion? Commissioner Fortner?
I move that the commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application as 719 West Washington, a contributing property in the Old West Side Historic District, to construct a 14-foot by 8-foot 1-inch wood deck and convert a window to a door off the first floor of the rear south elevation as proposed. The work is compatible in exterior design, arrangement, texture, material, and relationship to the rest of the building and the surrounding area, and meets the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings, in particular standards 2, 9, and 10, and the guidelines for entrances and porches and building site, as well as the Ann Arbor Historic District Design Guidelines, particularly as they pertain to residential porches.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Fortner, seconded by Commissioner White. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Maybe one quick
Sure.
comment.
Go ahead.
As I said, I'd like, if possible, to have the leniency to go to a 9-foot 1-inch depth for the 2-foot overhang. And I just wanted to make sure that,
Okay, so the 1 or 2 foot overhang was only in one direction? The depth?
yes.
Okay. So the
Sorry.
motion reads 8'1" if there's, I guess, the,
Maybe if
Can you
it,
amend the
Yeah.
motion?
Yeah.
could it be up to 9 foot,
Yeah,
9 foot
So-
1?
8 foot to 9 foot.
9 foot 1,
I
okay.
just want to,
9 foot
Are you
1.
comfortable
9 foot 1,
amending
yeah.
it?
8 foot to 9 foot 1.
Thank you for that catch. I appreciate it. Okay. Any discussion on the motion, commissioners? I think this is straightforward. Again, and no issue with the 1 or 2 foot overhang. I think it's amenable. If we're ready for a vote? All of those in favor, please say yes.
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 All of those opposed, please say no. The motion carries. Please note that you'll just be required to obtain any permits from the city before starting work. Thank you.
have a great evening.
You too, thank you. Right. Item F3, 215 to 217 South Main has been postponed, but since it's on the agenda, we'll have a public hearing. Do we have any callers on the line?
There are no callers at this time.
Okay. And there are no members present, so I will
Correct, yep.
close the public hearing portion for this item.
Okay, that works.
On to item F4, 2781 Packard Road.
Okay. Thank you. So obviously, this is a Cobblestone Farm Historic District. Looking from Packard Road, the solar panels are proposed on the rear of the barn structure, which is off kind of behind to the right here. It's quite a distance from the street. This is looking at it from the rear, basically from the public access parking lot towards the park. So Packard Road is to the in the background of this picture. This is looking kind of from the Packard Road side, the side of the barn with the windows right there, that's going to face west, and then the front, the side that faces south is, you can see where the white door is. The proposed solar panels will obviously be going on the roof of that structure, and they'll be on both sides of the roof. So this is looking from the front. So obviously here you can see an aerial view, so the solar panels are pretty much going to cover the entire roof. Whoops, sorry, go back to that a little bit quicker, and anyway, dimensions. Again, this is kind of from the front, but just near the side entrance towards the east. So obviously looking from Packard Road, in this view, it's pretty obscured. It's kind of behind and to the right of the house. You can see a little bit of the ramp that leads up to it through the trees. Again, so this shot is about, is a good shot. It's directly looking at it from Packard Road. So again, even in the fall with some of the leaves off the trees, it's pretty well, it's pretty good distance from the road as well as hidden by vegetation. Again, slightly different view, a little different angle. You can see the white entrance door to the barn right there. So again, just moving over a little bit further. Again, even a little bit further east along Packard. So again, so this would be an angle as you're driving westbound. So again, pretty well screened. Going to the Secretary of Interior Standards, number 2 and number 9 and 10. The Ann Arbor Historic Design Guidelines regarding solar were appropriate. Mounting solar panels at grade or on grade pole mounting. Sorry. My thing is right in the middle of my text. Pole mountings, in the absence of an appropriate ground-based mounting location, panels should be mounted on a side or rear-facing roof surfaces. Installing mechanical and service equipment on the roof related to the solar units and the related devices so that they are inconspicuous from the public right-of-way and do not damage or obscure character-defining features. And for sloped roof installations, mounting solar panels parallel to and within 8 inches of the roof surface. What's not appropriate for solar is any other alteration or installation procedure that will cause irreversible changes to the historic features or materials. And that concludes the presentation on that item.
Thank you. Commissioners Wilson Ross?
So once again, another pretty straightforward proposal. And I agree with staff's characterization of the proposal. You know, once again, it's a non-historic building that's located well off of Packard. So that'll lead to obviously the panels being minimally visible, just depending upon how you're approaching. But generally speaking, it does meet our guidelines, and I will vote for an approval. Pretty straightforward.
Thank you.
Yes, I agree with Commissioner Ross.
Thank you. Is the applicant online?
No, actually. I don't see anybody from the city.
No callers.
Okay,
None.
so I will go ahead and move on to public hearing. Seeing no callers and no persons present.
Actually,
Now we have a caller?
Mark DeRozi's asking to talk.
Okay.
Mr. DeRozi? Yes, can you hear me? We cannot hear you.
Well, it's very,
It's very quiet.
Now? A little better?
That's
Yeah,
much better.
That's great.
Okay.
Are you wanting to speak on the Cobblestone Farm application?
Yes, I was just going to say, with Homeland Solar, we are the applicant.
Thank you.
And we are doing a number of city parks, and we basically are working pretty closely with the Office of Sustainability and Innovation. And we pretty much have a goal from them to get as much solar power on the roof as we can. So this is the layout that works well. And I'm glad to hear it's acceptable. I think the point that is being made here is that these are standard silver frame panels, and as opposed to black frame panels, which would result in less power on the roof, which isn't really in keeping with the goals of OSI.
Yeah, thank you. That was, I think that was a point mentioned in the packet, so thanks for bringing that up.
Yep.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for the applicant?
I have one question. Will this also power the house?
No, this is only going to be connected to the meter that's at this building.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. I'll move on to the public hearing portion. We have no members in the audience. Do we have any other callers online?
No other callers.
So the public hearing for 2781 Packard is closed. Is there a commissioner that would like to make a motion? Go ahead, Commissioner Rackler.
I move that the commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 2781 Packard Road, a contributing property in the Cobblestone Farm Historic District, to install a solar array on the roof of the 1986 event barn as proposed. The work is compatible in exterior design arrangement, texture, material, and relationship to the rest of the building and the surrounding area, and meets the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings, in particular standards 2, 9, and 10, and the guidelines for roofs, energy efficiency, and mechanical systems, as well as the Ann Arbor Historic District design guidelines, particularly as they pertain to solar installations.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Rockland, seconded by Commissioner White. Any discussion on the motion?
I have a question for the applicant, I
Go ahead,
realize.
Commissioner.
Question for you. If it's not too technical or long of an answer, could you please explain why the silver-framed solar panels can draw more power than the black ones?
Yes, it's pretty simple. They're just physically a little bit bigger, and they happen to fit this roof a little bit better. We can get 3 rows on there, whether they're the silver frame or the black ones. And since the black ones, are just a little bit bigger, we get more power.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad that's the answer, and thank you for that. That makes, that makes our preference for the black ones. I mean, they blend in better, so on the historic district, we seem to like them more, and that's why they're allowed to be staff approved. But just the fact that they're like, if they were inferior in some way technically, that would be sort of a bummer. But I imagine sometimes they would fit better than the bigger ones, so.
That's exactly right.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Are we all ready for a vote? Okay. All of those in favor of the motion, please say yes.
Yes.
All of those opposed, please say no. No. Sorry, that was not a no, that was a
Oh.
yes. Sorry. The motion carries. In full. Your application has been approved. Just note that you must apply for any required permits from the city before beginning work on the project. All right, on to last hearing item F5, 706 West Liberty.
Okay, thank you. Again, located in the Old West Side Historic District. The petition before used to pave the existing driveway that you can see obviously on the picture here. A slightly different view of the picture, or, sorry, of the driveway. One thing to note as well, and I think it is called out in the report, but some of the drawings showed this area as being filled in, but Jill had clarified with the applicant that they don't intend, they don't intend to fill that area in, so that was going to be revised, and they can speak to that as well. So this area will remain with vegetation here. Looking obviously from the rear, the existing gravel area this is part of what will be paved. And this is basically standing from the garage. Obviously looking at the garage, all that area to be paved. And the paving will also include a kind of an extension you can see on the drawings to allow them to there's a side access door here, and it'll allow them to get to that at grade there. Now there's kind of a step down and a step up. There's some grade changes. So obviously an aerial photo of the site. And this kind of superimposes the paving aspect of it. Again, you'll note that it does kind of show that area is being paved, but that will not be paved. Again, here's kind of more of a visual demonstration. And again, looking from the street, looking at the gravel area, looking out directly to Liberty. Secretary of Interior standards that do apply, number 1, number 2, number 10. Secretary of Interior guidelines regarding the building site, what's recommended. The Ann Arbor Historic District design guidelines regarding landscape features. What's not appropriate is introducing any new building, streetscape, or landscape feature that is out of scale or otherwise inappropriate to the district's historic character. Regarding paved areas specifically, appropriate on residential properties, retaining and maintaining existing historic driveways and curb cuts, including 2-track driveways and green space between the driveway and the house. And that, sorry, I went back, but that does conclude the presentation on that item.
Thank you. Commissioners Willis and Ross, would you give review committee report and recommendation?
I could do it. So once again, another pretty straightforward project. So just noting that, so this is a pretty substantial yard. So I mean, I agree with staff in the sense that there's going to be a lot of concrete added here, but, when you look at the large scale of the yard, it doesn't appear to be that it's going to be that much kind of out of scale. And the proposal doesn't seem to, and I guess I would want the applicant, the homeowner, to verify that at least the driveway coming from the street, as it gets to the, leading to the house where it kind of widens out towards the back. So the driveway along the side of the house doesn't appear to be widened. So I know, like Jill was saying, it's not going to widen close to the house, but I assume it's not going to widen on the other side either. So it doesn't, although it's widening out a little bit in the rear, it's, once again, that yard is so big that it's not going to have that much of an impact. So it does appear to meet our guidelines and makes sense.
Yeah, I would agree, and knowing that that planter area is going to be there and not removed, that keeps the size of the drive from what's visible from the street, I think, in the right perspective to the original elements of the house.
Thank you. Is the applicant on
Yes,
the phone? All right.
they are on the line.
Right. If the applicant would unmute your microphone and state your name And you have up to 5 minutes to speak if you have anything you'd like to add to the staff report or review committee report.
Thank you. My name is Alex Watley. I certainly don't have 5 minutes worth of material to add, but I will confirm that the driveway is not being extended or widened on the west side. We intend to keep the border that's there. And yes, that green patch will remain where the foliage was planted. You can see in the pictures sort of where our trash cans are. That's not really green space right now, but it's not really part of the driveway either. And our preference would be to pave that area to have a nice place for our trash cans. And I think that that was included in the staff report. But other than that, happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners, any questions? Just to clarify your last statement about paving where the trash cans are located, are you wanting to, so the plantings that are existing, those would remain, but where the house steps back?
That's correct.
Do you want to do paving from, is it from that point all the way backward or back, or just kind of where the trash cans are located?
Just where the trash cans are located, right? Okay. Where the plantings are would stay, and then I think there's like a slight bit of green space, maybe between, maybe not. But it would not extend to where there's planting now or green space.
That everything behind that would be paved up, basically for the rest of the distance of the house. Is that correct? Because the house kind of steps in.
That's right.
Okay. Any other questions, commissioners? Oh, okay.
So that area that we were just, if you could go back to that. So the area that we were just talking about, where the trash cans are, where is, so the brown rectangle is labeled porch or deck, sorry.
Right, the deck
So
there.
where's the trash can relative to what we're looking at?
The
here?
left side where that inset is.
Yeah, if you,
Where the building bump out, or
where the building
kind of
steps in.
steps in, sorry,
Yeah.
I should say.
Right.
Oh, sorry, keep going back, there you go. Right, maybe I have a better one. I don't think I have a better one. Well, it was hard to see in there, but yes, I think from that point to the rear is what would be paved. I think
Okay.
That's what the applicant, so.
Do we have is the proposed layout shown in this presentation? Do you have it? Or is it some?
No, this is the one that's, that she asked for them to revise, because, well, this does not show that paving area in here. These are the layout, we have this one, and then, if there's another one. Guess it was just this one here. And then, well, there's this one,
The
but that's
over,
not.
yeah.
In our packets, there's one that says
Yeah.
proposed.
Yeah. It's page 8 of the packet, so it's.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I don't have
No,
that
that's
visual
okay.
Okay,
in the PowerPoint.
okay.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
yes.
But right, the homeowner confirmed that
Right, that
they're
that-
keeping the existing planting bed, green
for
space
sure.
on the side, so.
Just at the location where the house, where it is existing. But
Right.
it sounds like they want to, the driveway or paving would then be,
I think kind of
And-
from
The
this point.
garbage cans.
yeah, where the garbage
Yeah.
cans are from the house back.
And then this is forward is the remaining green space.
Gotcha.
Correct. So it's only at the portion of the house where the green space remains.
That's most visible from the right of way anyway.
Right. Commissioner Rockland has a question?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So, this is a lot of concrete, I would say, in my estimation, so I get it that I guess that's why we're just being very careful about, let's keep some green space here and all of that. So, I do appreciate, though, the comments from the review committee saying, yes, it is, but it's not a lot if you look at the entire yard, which is nice. But one thing I have heard is that there's a part next to the garage where you want to get into the garage, and that makes a lot of sense to pave that, so it looks like now it's a bit treacherous. What is the justification for removing what now is planted space. And so right there, if you have like a 4-foot wide path, that could get you from the existing gravel to the door. But the proposed is showing that kind of comes all the way back to the house, a bit wider than what is there. So just why do you need that more bit to be paved?
Like, just to clarify, by planted space, you mean where there's currently grass?
That's right.
Okay. I mean, I think the number one justification for the size increase would be parking. There's no street parking in the area. We have a lot of grandparents who live in the area. We often have people over in the backyard. And it would just allow us to park more vehicles back there. It also is a larger space for children to ride bikes, play basketball, hang out. And we just already have so much grass space in the yard. I mean, what you see in these pictures is a fraction of it, that we really don't feel like we're losing much. So hopefully that answers your question. I mean, I won't lie to you and say that it is absolutely imperative to our continued use of the home to make it larger, but it would certainly be more convenient and more enjoyable if we had, a little bit more flat space back there.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, I'll open the public hearing portion for the application at 706 West Liberty. If nobody in the audience, do we have any other callers on the line?
No other callers.
Okay. So I'll close the public hearing portion. Is there a commissioner that would like to make a motion?
I can, if I can.
Commissioner Ross?
In 1 second. Sorry. Okay. All right. I move that the commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 706 West Liberty Street, a contributing property in the Old West Side Historic District, to pave the driveway with concrete on the condition that the existing planting bed along the west elevation of the house in the front of the rear addition is maintained. As conditioned, the work is compatible in exterior design, arrangement, texture, material, and relationship to the surrounding resources and meets the Ann Arbor Historic District guidelines for paved areas and landscape features and the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation, in particular standards 1, 2, and 10, and the guidelines for building site.
Second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Ross, seconded by Commissioner White. Any discussion on the motion?
Does that make sense along the west elevation of the house? I get that existing planting bed in front of the rear addition,
Yeah, so,
but we're not talking about where the garbage cans are though, right?
That's correct.
That would be next to the rear addition. In front of the rear addition, that's like the main block of the house.
yeah,
It's just,
on the condition that the existing planting bed along the west elevation of the house in front of the rear addition is maintained.
okay,
So
So I think she's just describing that area.
in front
That-
of the rear addition is just what I'm confused about. But I think,
But it's-
The green section. In front of the rear. That's it.
Yes,
is it clear
It's-
enough?
I think it's clear
Okay. I
because
think
she's
so.
saying it's on the west elevation and she's describing in further detail that.
okay.
Or to the south of the.
Yeah.
adjacent to the main,
Or, yeah,
I would
and
phrase it as
adjacent to
the main block of the house or something.
adjacent to the contributing structure. You know, you could say that.
I think it's clear that what I'm looking at in the photo should be retained. I just wanted to make sure that the motion didn't say also pave the part, or also you're not allowed to pave the part where the garbage cans are, which is what the owner wants to do. But that's not what in front
Yeah, I
of the
don't-
rear addition means? Right. Okay.
yeah, I don't
Correct.
think it's saying that.
Because
It's
that's just
qualifying
modifying.
the west
yeah,
side of the house.
Yeah, right. Where the existing plant, it's modifying the existing planting bed location.
Very good.
Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? I'll just, I had, I guess, some initial concerns about the size of the paving. When I was first looking through the application, seeing that the majority of this is already existing gravel. I think that, and that's something that the homeowner is just requesting to be paved, and then hearing that there's additional, like this is a very large site and a lot of grass, that additional paving, I think, the question that Commissioner Rockland posed was, helpful in understanding that further, that it's a small portion of this additional paving that's being added, even though overall it's a lot of concrete. I think it's appropriate in size and scale and relationship. All of those ready to vote? Okay. All of those in favor, please say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All of those opposed, please say no. All right, the motion carries. Your application has been approved. Please note you must apply for any required permits from the city before beginning work on your project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Back to the agenda here. All right, move on to item G, new business. We have two things. We have honoring departing commissioners. I believe was there a resolution that Ms. Thatcher left with you?
Don't have a resolution.
Okay.
I don't have a resolution. We have the.
You have the plaques?
Yeah, we have the plaques
Okay.
that will be signed, but I'm sorry, I don't have a resolution.
No,
with me.
that's fine. And it may have
I
just
think
been a
there's supposed to be
wording.
3 resolutions.
Yes,
Yeah.
3 resolutions, 1 for each commissioner, so it may just be,
It's not in my packet.
there was nothing in that email attachment that I saw.
Right?
Is there within your packet? I don't have any resolutions in my packet.
And the link was not active.
I'm opening up to see what.
Let's look at the link.
I don't think there's anything.
No, there's nothing at the link.
Stop sharing my screen.
Whereas Commissioner Bob did an incredible job all these years. Thank you so much for your service. It is
Thank
greatly
you.
appreciated.
You're welcome.
Ditto to Commissioner Beverly and Commissioner Anna.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you,
That's
Commissioner
really good.
Rockland. Appreciate it.
All those in
very
favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Second, you gotta say second.
Hey,
Yes.
Second, come on,
Yes, second,
Yes,
Commissioner
second.
Bob.
Yes, indeed.
Great job.
Oh,
Commissioner Willis,
Good job, Beverly. Good job.
thank you for your years of service.
Thank you. It worked
18,
out.
18 years of service for Commissioner White.
18 years.
I served.
You've done your duty. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
An institution,
Yes. Ending of an era. Seriously.
indeed.
And then on to item G1, election of officers. We did
Yes.
receive
the
a memo.
Got a nominating committee. And Commissioner David, Commissioner Catherine, and Commissioner Jessica. Their offices, Chair, Vice Chair, and Secretary. Catherine is Secretary.
That is the nomination.
That's the nominations slate
Okay.
for the Historic District Commission for this year forward.
Did we vote?
Yes.
Is there discussion? No? Everyone?
I mean, my apologies, we do have the resolutions right here.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh,
I apologize, they were in the things that needed to be signed before the meeting. We had a little bit of a flustered start, so I didn't quite get these. So if you, we have 3 of them. Robert and Anna, of course.
Yes.
So they still need to be signed to make it official,
okay.
but if somebody would like to.
Well, Anna's going to read 2 of them, and I'm going to
Yeah,
read one
okay.
of them. I'll read them.
oh, yeah.
You would read Anna's, I assume. And if you could read those, so thank you guys, sorry about that.
And now we're gonna
Well,
All right.
to
I will handle the other part. Without objection,
Yes,
Yeah.
they're elected.
thank you, Commissioner White. So I'll read the resolution for Beverly Willis. Whereas Beverly Willis has served faithfully in the Ann Arbor Historic District Commission, and whereas Beverly has used her considerable knowledge of historic buildings in the pursuit of historic preservation goals, and whereas Beverly's knowledge of local and Washtenaw history has Washtenaw County history has been an asset to Ann Arbor's local historic district. And whereas Beverly and her expertise will truly be missed by the commission, therefore be it resolved, the Ann Arbor Historic District Commission expresses its sincere gratitude and commends Beverly for her dedicated service to historic preservation in the city of Ann Arbor on this 11th day of May, 2023.
Oh, we say all in favor?
Yes.
All in favor? Please say yes.
Say aye.
Yes.
Aye, yes.
Aye.
All right, let me do yours next. And then
Yes.
I'll finish with Bob's, right? Does that make sense? Okay. Excuse me.
Are you gonna pass it down?
Yes, I'll pass. Oh, I have to sign it first.
Oh, yes, okay. Never mind.
This is Ann Arbor Historic District Commission Resolution, Anna Epperson. Whereas Anna Epperson has served on the Ann Arbor Historic District Commission for 6 years, and whereas Anna has used her considerable knowledge of architecture and preservation in the pursuit of historic preservation goals, and whereas Anna has supported historic preservation in Ann Arbor by supporting local historic districts, and whereas Anna served as the secretary, vice chair, and chair of the Historic District Commission, and whereas Anna's knowledge and expertise will truly be missed by the commission. Therefore, be it resolved, the Ann Arbor Historic District Commission expresses its sincere gratitude and commends Anna for her dedicated service to historic preservation in the city of Ann Arbor on this 11th day of May, 2023. All those in support of this, please say aye.
Aye.
Very good.
All right, Mr. Robert White. Whereas Robert White has served on the Ann Arbor Historic District Commission for 18 years, since September 6, 2005. And whereas Robert has put to good use his vast experience as a commissioner in the pursuit of historic preservation goals. And whereas Robert has served as chairperson of the nominating committee for 17 years, and also on the Ann Arbor Historic District Design Guidelines Committee, and the Design Guidelines for Solar Committee, as well as numerous other committees of the Historic District Commission. And whereas Robert served as the secretary, vice chair, and chair of the Historic District Commission, and whereas Robert has been the longest-serving commissioner on the Historic District Commission in its 50-year existence. Therefore, be it resolved, the Ann Arbor Historic District Commission express its sincere gratitude and commends Robert for his excellent and outstanding service to historic preservation in the city of Ann Arbor on this 11th day of May, 2023.
Well, thank you.
Wow. Thank you, yes.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you so much.
So we'll sign both of these.
Never thought I'd see the day.
Did we say all those in favor?
Oh, yeah, we did. I don't think we voted for that.
No, are we? All of those in favor?
Usually Bob lets us know when it's time to vote. Should we vote on that one?
Yes, you can vote. Thank you.
There, if you want to bring them back over here, I can put them in the frame.
Okay. There's frames for
Oh,
them as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go, thank you. Those are nice. So they got frames. Had to do this again, I get frames.
We'll take you back.
No, wait a year and get reappointed, just
There
to
you
get
go.
the frames.
All right. I believe that closes new business. On to item H, approval of of minutes. We received the April 13 minutes in an email. Has everyone had a chance to review those minutes? And, right, the minutes are approved as presented, with no objection. On to item I, reports from commissioners. Does any commissioner have anything they'd like to share? On to item J, assignments for Monday, June 5th at 5 p.m. for the Thursday, June 8th meeting. Commissioner Ross, any other commissioners available? No. Commissioner Fortner?
Thank you.
On to item K, reports from staff.
I don't have
Do you
anything to
have
report.
anything right now?
No. Thank you all for your patience tonight.
Ms. Thatcher is at the
Yes.
Historic Preservation Conference.
So
and-
she'll come back with even more knowledge to
Exactly.
share with you all.
Wonderful.
And on to item L, concerns of commissioners. Is there a concern any commissioner would like to share?
We'll be 3 down,
Yeah, so we're going to be a
hopefully,
small committee. I know.
hopefully not for long.
Were you going to continue on for a couple of
Yeah,
meetings
I'll
until?
probably continue on
Okay,
until they get the appointment.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
and I did tell Jill that I'll be available if we don't have, if we need. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
just so we're not short, because we'll be down to 4, and that is our quorum.
gets
So
tight.
if no absences
Can't do
would
that,
be
yeah.
allowable. So if anyone is interested, if anyone's watching out there and you're interested, you live in the city of Ann Arbor, interested in joining the Historic District Commission, you can do, put an application in online.
Thanks.
On to item N, communications. I don't believe there have been any sent to the HDC. On to item N, adjournment. I now adjourn the May 11th, 2023 meeting of the Ann Arbor Historic District Commission.
Well done, Anna.
Thank you.
Thank you. All
Congratulations, new officers.